in the world of the traditional world of M&A, what I've found and seen is that it's almost like people take a property mindset to it. They think, I think I want to sell. Let me go and get a valuation done. And they assume that that will drive a successful deal. In a nutshell, how can you explain how different deal leaders' approaches compared to that approach?
So I think first of all, there is no defined market for the value of a business, particularly privately owned businesses. So taking that standard approach, getting a valuation, is all based on theory. So I think a big part of our approach, if I were to look at the overarching element, it's we deal in reality, and it starts with really good preparation. So you've really got to understand, one is your business sellable? Is there an active market out there? Are you ready as an individual to embark on this journey? Are you committed to the journey? And then it's going through a process of really onboarding the client's mindset, what to expect, where the pricing is going to be, but nothing cast in stone. Because the earlier point you made around, are you selling 100% or 40%? We don't know. You can have a plan, but the market is actually going to tell you. And I think that's where a lot of the process is lost, because you're taking theory into the trenches, if you like, and that doesn't work. You've got to have a framework, and I think we've evolved from a process to a framework, but it's got to be fluid enough to adapt to what's actually happening out there. And I think that's a big part of the alignment we achieve in our approach up front, and then take it forward from a process perspective.
I think that the other point to add there, what I've found is a big part of it when I'm in this challenge of trying to explain what we do succinctly, is it's about in whose hands is it worth more. It's easy to say, well, I can do a calculation and I can pay someone a lot of money to do a valuation and my business is worth 100 million. Well, it's certainly not worth 100 million to someone who is in a completely different sector and has no interest in your business. It's worth 10.
Absolutely.
But there might be someone in whose hands it's worth 120 million. And how do we find that buyer who says, yes, I'm willing to pay more for this business? So I think it's that, but to find that, it's all of that work and framework that comes before that. Because you can't just walk out there and say, okay, they're the best buyer because they can do the most of this business. Because I don't draw them in and get them convinced in the process and give them the right information at the right time, it's just going to fall over and they'll never see that opportunity.
It's interesting. I mean, a lot of clients we deal with, whether we work with them or we don't, they've gone through that initial phase. They've either tried to do it themselves, they've got a valuation, and 10 out of 10 times it's all wrong. Because it's just based on a set of assumptions, and they haven't been. And I always say, I think a big part of what we do is the balance between art and science. You've got to be creative, and you've said it many times. It's a sales and marketing process. Who out there is going to be the very best partner for themselves to unleash a whole lot of value and synergy and whatever it may be? Because you're right, then your valuation's wrong. And we always use that analogy. So if you take your house to market and say it's 100 Rand, whatever it may be, no one's going to pay you more. Maybe if you live in Cape Town, all these days, but no one's going to pay you more. Same with the business. If you go out there with a defined price and there's somebody out there who's going to get a huge synergistic play, if you've given them the number, they're not going to pay more. And that's why you've got to keep it, as fluid as possible.